Good morning. I have some time before I head to work, so I hope you enjoy this video. The story I'm about to share is about a time when I almost got exaped. Well, let me clarify. I've never been a supermodel, and boys never seemed to like me because I didn't fit the mold of those girls with heavy makeup and expensive clothes. So, here's a short film-style storytelling moment. One day, I had just gotten home and decided to ride my electric scooter, hoping to maybe run into my ex. I went to the park, and I kept hearing someone whistling, but I didn't think it was directed at me. So I continued riding. From a distance, I thought I saw my ex, so I walked over, only to realize it wasn't him. Instead, this guy wanted to chat, so I engaged with him. After a while, we left the park and headed to my friend's place where I was staying as her roommate. The guy asked for a tour of the house and I showed him my room. In hindsight, I should have sensed something was off. I suggested we go back outside, but he didn't want to. He was trying to get sexual. I firmly said no, but then he actually put his hand on me, and I was fucking no way, not today, buddy. Having dealt with a lot from my ex, I recognized that this guy was no different. I fought back, kicking him and trying to leave a mark. Just then, my roommate arrived, and I told him to leave before I called the cops. He disappeared quickly after that. I hope you enjoy the video. The motivation behind my story stems from my feelings for someone with whom I shared a good relationship. We got along well, but as time went on, we recognized that our age difference would prevent us from being together. This situation lasted for 3 years, during which he returned to his old girlfriend and I went back to my ex. However, when neither of them was in our lives, it was just the two of us. After he hurt me emotionally, I decided to seek revenge because I felt that everything had gone wrong after I encouraged him to date his old girlfriend. Hello. I don't think I'll be posting my podcast as frequently until I feel better. Anyway, this video is going to be different. Have you ever experienced a deep love for someone with whom you shared so much time and so many experiences? Yet, when things began to go wrong, it often turned into disappointment rather than joy. Despite being deeply in love, you keep trying for years, maybe 5, because someone has already shown you that love can feel unreal. You start to believe that marriage isn't genuine, especially knowing that many people cheat. As a result, you find yourself in a sort of emotional haze, deciding not to settle for anyone, even if that person could be the best thing for you. What I'm trying to express is that I'm not interested in marriage or having children for various reasons. I've turned to certain coping mechanisms to deal with the failures in my past relationships. There was one guy who was much older and seemed perfect, but the age gap was an issue. Then there was my ex, who meant everything to me but ultimately let me down. I also had a crush on someone else, but that didn't pan out either. Just to clarify, I'm not referring to actual drugs. I've simply chosen to cope in different ways. Good morning. I don't have much time to make a video, but I'll share a quick story. My cousin, my brother, and I were just being kids one day at my aunt's house. My cousin's mom initially said we couldn't play outside, but we managed to convince her otherwise. At that time, my cousin had a crush on a girl, and being young and naive, I took on the roles of their therapist, marriage counselor, and officiant. Most of the time when we went outside, I took on various roles, including playing along for my brother with a girl he liked. At one point, my cousin mentioned he was going to marry her, so I organized a pretend wedding for them, keeping in mind that we were just kids. We enjoyed playing make-believe. Eventually, both my cousin and brother started having issues with their girlfriends, so I ended up playing the role of therapist, which was quite amusing. At one point, I even pretended to marry a tree for some reason. Before the drama began, I remember we had a honeymoon where we went to the girl's house and asked her to come outside. Once she did, we went to a beautiful spot where I played songs by Maddie B and Bruno Mars. The honeymoon was fantastic. I really tried not to post a new video, but I couldn't help myself. This is a short film about the time my cousin and I tried Fireball for the first time during my senior year. Being a tomboy, I didn't care about prom or many other school events, and I really didn't want to go. My mom made it harder when I asked her for a favor. So, on this particular day, my cousin and I were bored, and I was texting a guy who had a crush on me. Then my cousin said he wanted to drink, and I agreed. Fortunately, that guy was nearby, and we chatted for a bit, but wearing stupid high heels made it tough to get around. The place we went to was pretty sketchy, and we were scared. When we finally arrived at the motel, we talked to the guy who only had Fireball. Just as we were getting comfortable, my aunt called, and we panicked, deciding we had to leave. The problem was that the guy who liked me wanted a kiss before I could go. He closed the door while my cousin was already outside and said he wouldn't let me leave without a kiss. So, I kissed him, even though I didn't like him. He wanted more, but I pushed him away, opened the door, and caught up with my cousin. We started running back to the high school, but it was a bit late because his mom found us and asked if we had been drinking. We said no, and she took us to her place, which was my aunt's home, where we stayed the night. We acted like fools, and it's funny now, but the next day I was mad at my cousin because I could have been in a dangerous situation. Neither of us felt well, but still went to work, and I was upset with him for days. Side note, when we were found, we told her our plans was just to walk home. Enjoy the video! Asterisk, asterisk, storytime, asterisk, asterisk. The reason I struggle to believe in mental health issues, despite experiencing them myself, is a bit complicated. Once, I knew two people who were going through a tough time, while I was just curious about life and the concept of death. I often wondered what it would be like to not exist at all. Imagine being lifeless and forgotten because you're gone. At that time, my dad was upset with one of those individuals who was struggling mentally, and he reacted harshly. He called me into the room too, but I didn't face the same level of punishment. The issue is that my dad never allowed us to explain our side of things, whether it was our fault or not. This has made it difficult for me to communicate my feelings, as I never had that opportunity as a child. I realize this has become a significant problem for me. I also know it's not right to feel this way about my dad, but I have a lot of anger towards him for various reasons, particularly for how he treated my mom and the consequences that followed. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other content and my YouTube channel at Cruzy Writer for more storytime videos that might be even more exclusive and interesting.